The princess does not follow the rules of the British royal family with a lot of markets in her private life. No matter how brilliant the beauty is, Princess Margaret's life is also related to the market, as much noise. But it all comes from her free and bohemian lifestyle. Born on August 21, 1930, Margaret is the youngest daughter of King George IV and also the sister of Queen Elizabeth. While the older sister always followed the rules, Margaret rebelled since childhood. Margaret owns a beauty as beautiful as coming out of a fairy tale, not ashamed to be a princess, who is praised for her heavenly beauty, more beautiful than a Hollywood star. Not only that, in her youth, Princess Margaret also possessed a new, unique, and extremely fashionable fashion style compared to other women of the same time. Therefore, it is no wonder that Margaret is considered one of the most beautiful princesses of the 20th century, and even now. In her 1950 memoir, The Little Princesses, Elizabeth and Margaret's caretaker Marion Crawford described Margaret as humorous, sharp, but disturbingly naughty, often eating late at dinner, keeping her parents and guests waiting just because she wanted to listen to the end of her favorite program. No matter how strict royal etiquette was, Margaret would most likely do the opposite on purpose. Not only making friends with the common people, the princess also often hid in the cellar and stole champagne from her father. Although unpopular with officials, Princess Margaret was loved by her father, King George VI. For George VI, Elizabeth was pride and Margaret was joy. Margaret was especially close to her father. On February 6, 1952, King George VI died suddenly at the age of 56. The night before, he also spent time having dinner with Margaret. The princess collapsed, smoked more, sometimes ran out of 30 cigarettes a day and had to take sedatives to sleep. The relationship between Margaret and her mother also deteriorated. They only exchanged letters through butlers, even though they lived one floor apart. Despite the tension with her mother, Margaret loved her sister very much. Once, the princess dreamed that she made her sister angry, so the next day, she immediately called Buckingham Palace to hear Elizabeth say hello. In the early 1950s, Margaret began a secret relationship with Captain Peter Townsend, who was 16 years her senior, and accepted Townsend's marriage proposal in 1953, but they kept their affair a secret from both the church and the royal family. British families do not accept a member of the royal family marrying a commoner who has left his wife. In 1955, Princess Margaret announced an annulment of her engagement to Townsend on the grounds that she wanted to put the doctrine of the church and the mission to the Commonwealth first. A year has passed, and Margaret accepted the proposal of Billy Wallace, whose background is said to be suitable for the princess. However, during a vacation in the Bahamas, Wallace had an affair, prompting Margaret to bluntly call off the engagement. Some time later, the youngest daughter of the king surprised many people when she married at the age of 30 to a photographer named Anthony Charles Armstrong Jones on May 6, 1960. Before that, the two had been dating for quite a while. The wedding took place to open a new chapter in the princess's life with full happy days. The two have 2 children together. According to the Evening Standard, while on a business trip, Armstrong Jones had extramarital relationships. Once, Margaret caught her husband talking more intimately than friendship with other women. Not to mention, Armstrong Jones often humiliates his wife. Frustrated with her marriage, Margaret became entangled in a series of extramarital affairs. In 1976, Margaret was spotted vacationing in the Caribbean with Roddy Llewellyn, a gardener 18 years her junior. After the incident, Anthony Armstrong Jones and the princess announced their separation. After the first 18 years of marriage, in 1978, Anthony filed for divorce because he couldn't stand the licentiousness, the leisurely lifestyle of his beautiful wife. Perhaps married life was not born for an affluent, amorous woman like Margaret. Leaving her husband, Margaret faced harsh criticism. One member of parliament called her a parasite while another called the princess a national shame. After all, Princess Margaret did not lose her royal title but never found happiness of her own. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and turn on the notification bell to see the latest videos.